So it's day 68. I took a couple of days off. I have been buying, but I just didn't make any videos. And as you probably can see, there's been a lot of selling in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Cardano, it's down 13%. Chainlink's down around 13%. Ethereum's down almost 10%. So on and so forth. I think Bitcoin went down as low as we'll check the chart here. Yeah, it was down to $59,000 Canadian, and it just keeps you know going down more and more. I knew this was going to come. Like people, if you look at my previous videos, like I've always said, it's gonna. I'll tell you right now, it's gonna go down to 20 grand. And that's why we daily dollar cost average. And everybody was telling me, oh, you should have bought, the whole Bitcoin and just hold on to it. No, don't do that, because you make money off cryptos through its volatility. That's how you make your money. Like, this, you can, if you got a lot of money and you got a lot of patience, you can just buy it and forget about it if you want. But I'm saying, if most people don't have tons and tons of money, and what I would strongly recommend, well, again, it's not financial advice, so I shouldn't say it, but what I do, this is what I do. You daily dollar cost average. And all this stuff that's going on right now, this is working to your advantage. You are taking advantage of these lower prices. That's why you want to have a lot of cash on hand. And people they just don't seem to get it. I don't understand why they don't get the concept of it. But when you ride the wave down, that's how you make money. You don't make money when it's going up. You make money when it's going down. Like in the long term, you want to buy it when people are dumping it, not when people are grabbing it. So anyways, I'm going to do my typical conversion. I don't know why this is over here right now, but convert DAI to Bitcoin. So I don't know what's on the side, but anyways, so you got $333 from DAI, the stable coin, over to Bitcoin, and you watch. Yeah, you just take a look at this. Convert now, then it's going to show you how much you get. Okay, so that's done. Why is this doing that? Anyways, so you okay, there's your transaction overview, whatever, and go over to home. See, I only have 54,000. Like I had 64,000 a week ago, but I don't care, because again, I'm getting it cheap, right? So this is what you want. This is what I've been waiting for, is it to keep going down. And like I said, if this continues to go down, if I see Bitcoin go to about below 40,000 US, I'm buying it all, buying as much as I can. I might even send in, more money, transfer, maybe $20,000-$30,000 more money in to get it when it's cheaper. Because that's how you make money. People just don't seem to get it, and they fall for it every single time. They got that whole FOMO thing going on, the fear of missing out. And when they see it going up, they can't get enough of it. And then when the cork's pulled out, they go down. It's the same thing. It's like I showed you that little cartoon a few weeks ago or whatever about Charlie Brown, and Lucy pulls the ball away from him. It happens every time. You think, oh, no, people have learned their lessons. I'm going to tell you one thing right now. People never learn their lesson, and that's why it keeps happening. You gotta ride the wave down. That's how you make your money. You do not make your money on the way up. You make your money on the way down. and people just can't seem to wrap their head around it, and they never have. And I like, there's going to be the odd person that can, but for the most part, people do not learn a thing. They are emotionally driven. That's why all the trends look the same, because people think the same, right? But anyways, I'm not going to go cry about it, but I'm happy about this whole thing going down. Somebody saying Biden's behind it. Could be. I don't know. I don't really care. But yeah, bad news for Bitcoin and Coinbase getting delisted. I have no idea what this is. Check out. Okay, so I don't know what you want to look at, but we'll hear this guy. I've never heard him before. He seems to know what he's talking about, so we'll see what he has to say.
Sleep doesn't just happen overnight. It takes 40 years.
Hey moneymakers, we got some big market news today. Let's not waste any time and jump straight into it. The first one is about Bitcoin, and more specifically, an analyst from JP Morgan, Nicholas, thinks that Bitcoin is due for a correction. Basically, he's saying that because Bitcoin still hasn't recovered over the weekend due to power outages in China or increased regulation scares, not only in the United States, but also globally, he's saying that Bitcoin, if it doesn't recover, can lose all momentum signals. He goes on to say that we're in a steep liquidation period because people are trying to offload their Bitcoin in exchange for cash, and he also points to the performance of altcoins. For example, Dogecoin, even on 420, which was going to be Doge Day, where everyone was expected to scoop up Dogecoins, that didn't have much of momentum. In fact, Dogecoin, I believe, ended up in the red at the end of that day. He also points to two periods in times in the past where momentum signals also collapsed. For example, in February of 2020, where Bitcoin was hovering around $10,000 at an all-time high, the momentum wasn't there anymore, and then it tanked down to $4,000. And then similarly, again in November of 2020. I mean, the explanation in the article was very high level, but okay, fine. But come on, guys, let's be serious for a while. I think we all are aware that there is going to be a correction coming for Bitcoin, for the stock market, for cryptocurrency, whatever. That's just how these assets go. It's the cyclical nature of Bitcoin and the inherent risk that comes with such a volatile and early asset compared to, let's say, equity. That's like saying the water is wet, the Pope is Catholic. Essentially what I'm saying is don't worry if a correction comes. If you look in the past news articles, I'm sure you can find some analysts from somewhere indicating that a correction is coming every single month for the past year for Bitcoin, for cryptocurrency. Because if you don't remember, analysts have correctly predicted 50 of the last 3 market crashes. Basically, all I'm saying is none of this is new information. If you're holding Bitcoin, then you're aware of the risk involved. You're aware of the volatile nature that's coming. Now, whether or not Nicholas can actually predict the future, he specifically says if it doesn't reach back to $60,000 threshold, it's going to tank. Then I actually would be happy, because that gives us an opportunity to continue dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and get more coins for the same amount of money that we're investing. Because you know what? The same analyst, Nicholas, also gave a new price target for Bitcoin earlier in April. That's right, just a couple of weeks ago. And he set the price target at $130,000. So regardless of what happens, Nicholas, it's going to be a win-win. In other news, if you do want to get up to $250 in Bitcoin, check out the referral links in the description with BlockFi, with Coinbase, etc. The next news is about Netflix. Why?
Okay, what he said right there, this guy's actually pretty good. He's very realistic. I've never seen him before, but what he just said, that's why you got to watch these analysts. A month ago, the exact same analyst that is saying that Bitcoin's going to crash said he had a price target of $130,000. This is what I'm saying. And this guy here, this Vincent Chan, is saying dollar cost average. That's how you beat these guys. And I keep saying the exact same thing over and over. If you daily dollar cost average, all this noise, all these fake analysts don't mean anything, because you got to remember, these guys are bitches. Like all these people that work for banks and brokerage houses, they're so constrained by, corporate nonsense. Like they kiss asses. They want to get promoted. So basically the only way you can get those types of jobs is if you toe the line. If you're a major bitch, that's how you get those jobs. And if you are a guy that just does what he's told and can't think for himself and just kisses up to everybody, how can you possibly be objective? And I don't care what anybody says. I've worked on Bay Street. I've worked, in the financial sector for years. I know how it works. Okay. All these people that get these promotions to these, these jobs where they're, they pretend they know what they're talking about. They are the biggest ass kisser you've ever met in your life. And it's to the point where it's like, it's shameful. I'm watching these guys kiss up to other guys. And I'm like, do you guys want to get a room? You know what I mean? Do you guys want to be alone together? Because it's pathetic. So when you hear these guys say, yes, I believe Bitcoin's going to be $130,000 in 6 months, it's because somebody in a boardroom basically told him to say that. You think that guy was objective? That guy didn't come up with it. Now, because they may have said that because they want to, somewhat change their strategy. But the underlying tone of Wall Street is they hate Bitcoin. So when something like this happens, when there is a legit sell-off, okay, fuck that 130,000 target. Go and tell everybody it's crashing to nothing. Because that's what they want to hear, So this guy's hitting it right on. Like, you gotta analyze the analysts. And that's what I do. I'm analyzing the analysts and saying, look, you said this like just last month. And they'll look you straight in the face and they're like, well, like their words mean nothing. You cannot be swayed by these stooges. They are there just for self-interest alone. They push a company's agenda. They may pretend they're objective, but they're not. You have to look at where's the money coming from. If you work for anybody, JP Morgan, Chase, RBC, TD, wherever you work, it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. You got to toe the company line. You got to do what they tell you to do. And whether it's blatant, like you have to follow policy, or it's an unwritten rule, like you do what we say or you're not going to get promoted, they are not telling you the truth. First of all, these guys aren't even smart enough to be objective, because somebody who gets to that position, they're basically zombies that do what they're told. Okay. And again, if you just analyze what they've been saying and they all say the same thing. Do you think it's any coincidence that all the major brokerage houses in the States, like on Wall Street, are basically all pushing Bitcoin? You know why? Because they probably have a bunch of assholes in the boardroom saying, you know what, we got to get a piece of this. Right. So as soon as one of them does it, like Goldman Sachs or something like that, they all got to do it, because these bitches can't think for themselves, right? They are a bunch of just very weak-minded, pathetic people. And again, how do you know that? Because they got promoted. They are somebody's bitch. That's what it is. And I'm not even exaggerating this. It is so pathetic that it's, you know what I mean? And again, you can, just from what he's saying, the exact same analyst that's saying get the hell out of Bitcoin was saying it was going to 130 just like earlier this month. So how do you explain that? And those guys, they will look you right straight in the face. Oh, I never said that. You can show them. Here's where you said it. Yeah, I didn't mean that. Okay, so it's either one of two things. They're compulsive liars, or their words mean absolutely nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Like, how can you have a price target of $130,000 and then you say it's going to be worth like next to nothing within the span of a few weeks? How can you possibly take an idiot's insight, if you want to call it that? Like, how can you take it serious if that's the way these guys are? And they're all like that. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. But I think this Vincent Chan guy, he's nailing it, man. Like this guy's, so far what I see, he's right on the money. Like he knows what he's talking about. So we'll just continue with what he's saying.
The stock tanked around 10% after their earnings call, and whether or not you might be interested in the stock. And the main reason for that can be summed up in two words: subscriber growth. For Q1 of 2021, Netflix actually had a worldwide guidance of signing up 6 million new subscribers. And Wall Street was probably expecting they would beat this guidance and was just being a little bit more conservative. However, Netflix did not even come close to hitting this guidance. In fact, they only signed up around 4 million new subscribers in the first quarter of 2021, and then set out another guidance in Q2 of 2021 for only 1 million new subscribers. Next quarter's projection is the lowest and weakest guidance that we have ever seen from Netflix in quite a few number of years. Now, honestly, I always assumed assumed that the Netflix subscriber growth was going to decrease eventually. No way, Jose, were they going to be able to maintain the same level of growth as they did during COVID. As the economy start to reopen up, everything's starting to reopen up, vaccines distributed, people are going outside again and are less inclined to sign up for a streaming service and just watching videos into 2021. But I guess unfortunately, to the degree that it actually happened was a lot more extreme than a lot of people were expecting. But honestly, if you actually look deeper into the earnings, it's not all gloomy. They're financial
on Instagram, a tiny YouTube channel. The
financials are actually pretty decent if you take a look at them. The revenues beat analyst expectations, and operating income also was on the higher end of guidance. Plus, they also nearly had a free cash flow of $700 million this quarter, as well as a share repurchase program in the second quarter. So what are my thoughts on it as a stock perspective and whether you might be interested? I personally still expect subscriber growth to continue to slow down and decrease as we enter into 2021. I mean, it's obvious, right? Vaccine distribution, again, US sports stadiums reopen.
Okay, he's just talking about Bitcoin now, so I'm going to try to like get to the point where he's not talking about that, because I think he's going to be talking about Coinbase.
I do want to thank the sponsor of this video, HM Bradley. I know a lot of you guys are increasing your cash position because you're worried about the market, or you're just saving a large amount of money for a large purchase in the future. And I've been getting a lot of questions on where can people actually park their money because banks have such low interest rates. In fact, the national average annual percentage yield, or APY, for saving accounts as of January 2021 is 0.05%. So if you do hold your money in those accounts, you're pretty much making nothing. And that's where HM Bradley comes in, a fintech platform that responds to how you manage your money. And what's really cool about it is that it offers these things called saving tiers, meaning that with a monthly direct deposit, the more you save during your calendar quarter, the more you can actually earn. For example, if you're in saving tier 1, you can earn up to 3% APY on your balance up to $100,000, which is 60 times more than the national average. Second is you can really take control of the power of compound interest, because you can earn interest on top of your deposit as well as the interest you earned on your original deposit, meaning that your deposits up to the largest exchange in the entire. Now, the last news that you've been waiting for is that Coinbase might get delisted from the world's 12th largest exchange in the entire world this Friday, April 23rd. Now, it's seemingly bad news after bad news after bad news for Coinbase after they came out saying that the management team sold off a large portion of their shares on the day that it went public. And the actual reason that they gave for this delisting is actually pretty silly. They stated that Coinbase is missing the correct reference data known as the LEI, which stands for the legal entity identifier. Now, in order for Coinbase to continue being listed and traded on these two exchanges, then the LEI, or the legal entity identifier, has to be in line with regulatory regulation, which honestly I don't think is much of a concern. Let me show you why in just a few seconds. But essentially, as of recording this video, Coinbase still hasn't responded to basically media reaching out to them for an explanation. And the reason I'm not really concerned is because if you actually look into how long it takes to get a new LEI identifier or just get this approval, you can see on this list that Germany, it takes less than a day. If Coinbase is really trying to push on the fuels and really get it approved and not delisted. So honestly, if you purchase Coinbase on those exchanges, I wouldn't be too concerned, just given the time period as well as.
Okay, so this sounds like a technicality, because this is the first I hear about Coinbase being delisted. But again, when people say, oh, the main shareholders sold their shares, the main stakeholders in Bitcoin, that doesn't concern me either, because the whole point of you going public is for you to make money. These guys want to make money off it, right? Because that's what they do. So that doesn't really concern me. Like people, oh, see, they don't like it, they sold it. Well, that's kind of why they went public. If they didn't want to go public, they would just keep holding on to it. That doesn't make sense. But what he's saying here about the LEI, yeah, that's just a technicality. If it takes less than a day or whatever to change the way that their company is listed, to me that's trivial. It could be a concern, but I don't think it's anything that they can't overcome. So anyways, that was good information, because I never heard about this delisting of Coinbase. So that's why it's always good to stay in the know. And this is what I'm saying. Like, you want to be able to take these people talking, you got to really filter what they're saying. Like, that is valuable information, I would say. But these people that give these wild price predictions, like I remember Michael Saylor saying that it's going to be, 250,000 by May, Bitcoin, that other analyst, 130,000. It's going to be doing all these things. Excuse me. But you got to pick through, what's being said here. And as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not saying I'm saying anything new. It's going to keep going down. You watched, like I said, Bitcoin will be about 25, 30,000 bucks. Thinking about, I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's going to keep going down. And it's just one of those things. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more it goes down, the more people will dump it. And the more people dump it, the more it's going to go down. And then it's just going to keep doing that for a while. And, but that's why daily dollar cost average. But anyways, that's it for today. I'm not concerned whatsoever about, Bitcoin going down. I'm actually welcoming it. I like it when it goes down because that's when I buy it for cheaper. This is not financial advice. You could do whatever you want. I'm just showing you how I do it. And like I said, I'm just going to, keep my, buying strategy at the same $333 every day. But if I do see a big crash, like say this goes down to, because right now, again, it's about 60,000 Canadian. If this goes down to like 35, I'm going to buy 30,000. Maybe, like I said, I'll even send in more money. I'll buy maybe $50,000 worth in one day. If it goes below 20, around 20, anything below 30, I'll probably do that. But anyways, that's it for today. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.